If you're planning to build a home, one of the first things that you need to think about is where are you going to put it? And that's where the land comes in. And that's exactly what we're talking with our coastal expert, Teresa Cowart of RE/MAX Accent today. Hi, Teresa. It's great to see you.
It's great to be here again.
So, of course, you got to find that prime land to build on, because if you don't, find that perfect piece of property, well, you can't build the home. So,
Absolutely.
What are some things I should know and consider when I'm purchasing a piece of land?
Well, there's lots of things to consider when you're purchasing a piece of land. Probably the most important thing is finance, because the financing of land is very different than the financing of a home. If you're buying a piece of property with a home already on it, there's lots of options. There's even lots of 100% down program, they'll pay the 100%. When you're talking about land, the banks usually want more collateral down, so you're going to put more money down. To buy just land.
Right.
If you're going to do a land-home combo, there are loan programs for that. So you can actually buy the land and roll the mortgage loan into it, so you only really close one time and you have draws against it, and it's just a different animal. So there's lots to think about when you're thinking about that. Are you going to buy the land now and not build on it for 5 years? Are you going to buy the land now and build on it in the next 3 months? Which one is the best option for you? Are you going to pay cash for the land? Then the other thing is you have to think about, is the land going to be more valuable than the house? Because then when you try to finance the house or get a mortgage on the house, that's going to be a problem. You can't buy 100 acres and have a huge land value and put a $200,000 house on it.
Right.
It doesn't work that way.
No, no.
So those are really good questions for lenders. When you start thinking about that. We can help you find those properties, but we have to do that kind of in conjunction with a lender, because we need to make sure that once we find it, that it's going to work for you.
I always say we live in one of the prettiest places ever, with Savannah, Coastal Empire, Low Country, and oftentimes I'm riding around and I'll go, a home would look beautiful there. How can I find out if a piece of land is actually zoned to even build?
Well, your realtor can find that out super easy, as can a lender. I mean, we have websites, we have places we can look. The same thing, once you decide you want to be there, then there's testing that can be done to see, is it even suitable to build on? Because some of that beautiful property.
Right, you're talking about maybe soil testing and that kind of thing.
Yeah, because some of that beautiful land that you're talking about, you would not want to build a house on, because it just wouldn't substantiate that home.
And that's something that we obviously have to consider here in the coastal areas, because we have marshes and water all around us, so that's something definitely to consider.
And we have wetlands, so then you have to worry about, is it in wetlands? Do I need to delineate? I mean, there's just so many things that go into that when you start talking about the coastal areas. If you're on high and dry land, then it's a little bit different. When
it comes to closing costs and financing, is it different? I mean, I know how it works in purchasing a home that's already built, but let's just say, you're just buying land. Is it different for land, or does it work the same way? I mean, when it comes to financing and closing costs, I mean, is it different for land than residential property?
The closing costs, not so much. I mean, closing costs are closing costs. The financing, like we talked about a few minutes ago, yes, definitely. You're going to need to put more money down typically if you're buying just land. They just want more skin in the game. So it may be that you have to put 10 or 20% down. I bought property several years ago, and we had to put 20% down. And we were going to build a home on it, but that was the way we structured it. That's what they want us to do. So you just have to be prepared for that.
Right.
That you're not going to get a 100% loan on land. Again, never say never, but I haven't seen it happen.
9 times out of 10, it's not going to happen these days. So what about a new survey? I mean, because, I know surveys are done on land, but do I need a new one when buying a piece of land if there hasn't been one in, let's say, the last 5 years?
I think that's a comfort level for the individual. Like, I have property, and when I bought it, I had a new survey because it was owned by a timber company, and I wanted to make sure that it was done correctly and the corners were marked and that everything was I just needed that comfort level for me. When I bought my other property that I live on currently, I did not, because it was a lot. So I think it depends on the circumstances. We suggest if you're buying a bigger piece of land that yes, you absolutely get a survey done. 5 years ago will depend on whether or not things have changed. Does someone live beside you now that didn't before? Has the road changed? Are there any easements there that weren't there before? You know, I think you just have to look at the total package to decide whether or not you're comfortable with using one that's 5 years old.
So for our viewers who are watching right now, and maybe they're sitting there and they're looking for a piece of land, what is your primary advice to them in finding that perfect piece of property to build on?
Well, if you're going to buy it, you need to buy it now, because God's not making any more. Like, just
right.
You know. And I just think that you just need to do your due diligence. You need to know that you need to make sure you take your time and make sure it's the right property for you. Because once you build your dream house on that piece of land, it's there.
Well, and again, you know, it's one thing to ride around and look at land, but realtors, you guys, just like at RE/MAX Accent, you are very much aware of what's available out there, and can take folks around no matter what their needs are.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, Teresa, I want to say thank you for joining us and providing us once again all the wonderful information you do.
Well, thank you for having me.
If you'd like more information on Teresa Cowart of RE/MAX Accent or any of our coastal experts, just go to our coastal experts page. You'll find that at wsav.com.